What if I told you that not all Toyota SUVs are created equal? What if the brand famous for reliability and bulletproof engineering has been selling some vehicles that you should absolutely avoid? Toyota has built its reputation on making cars that last forever. But here's the truth dealers won't tell you. Some of their current SUV lineup are absolute home runs, while others are disappointing mistakes that will cost you time, money, and sanity. Today, we're breaking down the 3 worst and 4 best Toyota SUVs you can buy in 2025 and 2026. Some of these choices might shock you, others will confirm what you've been suspecting, but all of them are backed by real-world data, owner experiences, and cold hard facts. Whether you're shopping for your next vehicle or just curious about Toyota's lineup, this video will save you from making a costly mistake. Let's dive in. The 3 worst Toyota SUVs. Number 3 worst, Toyota Corolla Cross. Let's start with a controversial pick, the Toyota Corolla Cross. Yes, it's relatively new, yes, it's affordable, and yes, it wears the Corolla name, which carries decades of reliability reputation. But this vehicle is a textbook example of compromise gone wrong, and it deserves its spot on the worst list. The Corolla Cross launched in 2022 as Toyota's answer to the booming subcompact crossover market. On paper, it makes sense. Take the proven Corolla platform, raise it up, add some SUV styling, and you've got a winner, right? Wrong. The execution falls flat in almost every meaningful category. Let's talk about the powertrain first. The Corolla Cross uses a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine, producing just 169 horsepower. That might sound adequate, but when you're hauling around 3,400 pounds of vehicle, it's genuinely anemic. Acceleration from 0 to 60 takes over 9 seconds, which isn't just slow, it's borderline dangerous when merging onto highways. The continuously variable transmission doesn't help matters either. It creates a disconnect between throttle input and actual acceleration that makes the driving experience feel sluggish and unresponsive. But the problems go deeper than just power. The interior quality is shockingly cheap for a 2025 model year vehicle. We're talking hard plastics everywhere, a tiny infotainment screen that looks like it was pulled from a 2015 model, and seats that feel like park benches after an hour of driving. Toyota has always been about function over form, but the Corolla Cross takes cost-cutting to an unacceptable level. For nearly $30,000, you're getting an interior that feels like it belongs in a $15,000 budget car. The cargo space is another major disappointment. At just 25.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats, it's barely more than a sedan. Fold those seats down and you get 66.8 cubic feet, which sounds decent until you realize the Mazda CX-5, Honda CR-V, and even some sedans offer more usable space. The cargo floor is high, making it difficult to load heavy items, and the narrow opening means large boxes won't fit even when you technically have the volume. Then there's the ride quality. The Corolla Cross bounces over bumps like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. The suspension is too soft to handle corners with any confidence, yet somehow too harsh over rough pavement. It's the worst of both worlds. You'd expect a small crossover to be nimble and fun to drive, but the Corolla Cross feels like a tall sedan that doesn't want to be there. The hybrid version does improve the fuel economy significantly, getting up to 37 mpg combined, which is genuinely impressive. But it doesn't fix the fundamental issues with the vehicle. You're still stuck with the cheap interior, limited space, and uninspiring driving dynamics. The hybrid powertrain costs several $1,000s more, and that money would be better spent upgrading to a different Toyota altogether. What really makes the Corolla Cross frustrating is that Toyota knows how to make great small SUVs. The Corolla Cross feels like Toyota took the RAV4, stripped out everything good, and sold it for only slightly less money. It's a vehicle that exists purely to hit a price point and fill a segment, without any real passion or purpose behind it. Number 2 worst, Toyota Venza. The Toyota Venza is a vehicle that shouldn't exist, and the fact that it does says more about marketing departments than good product development. This is Toyota's attempt at a premium midsize crossover, and it fails spectacularly at being premium, midsize, or particularly good at anything. Let's start with the identity crisis. The Venza is essentially a RAV4 with a different body and a mandatory hybrid powertrain. It's marketed as more sophisticated and upscale, but when you actually sit in one, you're left wondering what you're paying extra for. The price starts at around $35,000, which is nearly $10,000 more than a base RAV4. For that premium, you get slightly softer materials in some places, ambient lighting, and a badge that most people won't recognize. That's it. You don't get more space, better performance, or any features you couldn't get in a loaded RAV4. The hybrid powertrain is the Venza's only standard option, producing 219 horsepower. It's smooth and refined, and the fuel economy is excellent at 39 mpg combined. But here's the problem. If you want a hybrid, just get a RAV4 hybrid. It's cheaper, more practical, and does everything the Venza does while being more versatile. The Venza's supposed sophistication comes at the cost of capability. The ride is tuned for smoothness, which means it feels disconnected from the road. Speaking of size, the Venza is awkwardly proportioned. It's longer than a RAV4 but has less cargo space. The sloping roofline that's supposed to make it look sporty actually just reduces headroom in the rear seats and cuts into cargo capacity. You get 28.8 cubic feet behind the rear seats and 55.1 cubic feet with them folded down. That's less than a RAV4, despite the Venza being a larger vehicle overall. It's form over function in the worst possible way. The all-wheel drive system is another disappointment. Unlike the RAV4's mechanical system, the Venza uses an electric motor to power the rear wheels. This works fine for slippery roads and light snow, but it's not designed for any real off-road use. If you need genuine capability, the Venza isn't your vehicle. What bothers me most about the Venza is that it doesn't have a clear purpose. It's not the most efficient, that's the RAV4 hybrid. It's not the most spacious, that's the Highlander. It's not the most capable, that's the 4Runner. It's not the most luxurious, that would be a Lexus. The Venza exists in this weird middle ground where it tries to be a little bit of everything and ends up being good at nothing. Sales numbers tell the story. The Venza sells in tiny numbers compared to the RAV4 and Highlander. Most buyers realize that for the same money, they can get a better vehicle from Toyota's own lineup or from a competitor. If you're looking at a Venza, seriously reconsider. Put that money toward a RAV4 hybrid or stretch slightly further for a Highlander. Either choice will serve you better. Number 1 worst, Toyota Sequoia. This is going to make some people angry, but the Toyota Sequoia deserves the number 1 spot on the worst list. It's a vehicle that costs $70,000 to $80,000 and delivers an experience that feels half-baked, compromised, and not worth anywhere near that price tag. The Sequoia was completely redesigned for 2023, and Toyota had a chance to create something truly special. Instead, they created a vehicle that looks impressive on paper but disappoints in reality. Let's break down why this full-size SUV is such a letdown. First, the powertrain. The Sequoia uses a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 hybrid system producing 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers sound incredible, and they are. The Sequoia is genuinely quick for such a large vehicle. But here's where things fall apart. The execution is terrible. The hybrid system creates a jerky, inconsistent power delivery that makes smooth acceleration nearly impossible. The transition between electric and gas power is clunky and noticeable. The 10-speed automatic transmission hunts for gears constantly, never seeming to know which ratio it wants. The fuel economy is mediocre despite the hybrid system. You're looking at 19 to 21 mpg combined depending on the trim level. That's barely better than the old V8-powered Sequoia, and it's worse than competitors like the Chevrolet Tahoe and Ford Expedition. So you're dealing with all the complexity and potential maintenance costs of a hybrid system without any real efficiency benefit. But the biggest problem with the Sequoia is the interior packaging. Despite being a massive vehicle on the outside, the interior space is disappointing. The third row is cramped with less legroom than you'd find in a Highlander. Adults can't sit back there comfortably for more than short trips. The second row is decent, but the seats don't slide as far forward as they should, making third row access difficult. Cargo space behind the third row is minimal, just 22 cubic feet. Interior quality is hit or miss. Some materials feel appropriate for the price, but there are cheap plastics in weird places. The center console is enormous, taking up valuable space without providing much usable storage. The infotainment system is Toyota's latest, which is better than their old setup, but still not as intuitive as competitors. The value proposition is terrible. A base Sequoia starts around $70,000. For that money, you could get a loaded Tahoe or Expedition with better interior space, more refined powertrains, and nicer interiors. If you want the top capstone trim, you're looking at nearly $85,000. At that price, you're in luxury SUV territory with Lincoln Navigator, Cadillac Escalade, or BMW X7 options. What makes the Sequoia's placement on this list so painful is that Toyota used to dominate the full-size SUV segment. The old Sequoia was outdated but rock-solid, reliable, and fairly priced. This new one tries to compete with domestic offerings and falls short while charging more money. Unless you absolutely must have the Toyota badge, skip the Sequoia. The 4 best Toyota SUVs. Number 4 best, Toyota Highlander. Now let's talk about the vehicles Toyota gets right. Starting at number 4 on our best list is the Toyota Highlander, a 3-row mid-size SUV that exemplifies what Toyota does well: practical, reliable, well-executed transportation. The Highlander has been a staple of American driveways for over 2 decades, and the current generation continues that tradition while modernizing the formula. It's not the most exciting SUV on the market, but it's one of the most well-rounded, and for most families, that's exactly what matters. Let's start with space. The Highlander delivers. The first 2 rows are spacious and comfortable, with plenty of headroom and legroom for adults. The second row captain's chairs, available on most trims, are genuinely comfortable for long trips. The third row is tight for adults, but it's usable for kids and teenagers, which is what most families need. More importantly, when you're not using the third row, it folds flat and provides 48.4 cubic feet of cargo space. The powertrain options are where the Highlander shines. The base 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder produces 265 horsepower, which is adequate for most driving. It's smooth, refined, and returns decent fuel economy at 22 mpg city and 29 mpg highway. But the real star is the hybrid. The Highlander Hybrid uses a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder paired with electric motors for a combined 243 horsepower. The electric motors provide instant torque that makes the hybrid feel quicker in real-world driving. Plus, you get 36 mpg combined, which is remarkable for a 3-row SUV. Interior quality is where the Highlander really justifies its price. Toyota uses soft-touch materials in the right places, and the overall design is clean and functional. The controls are intuitive, the seating position is commanding, and there's useful storage throughout the cabin. The available 12.3-inch touchscreen is responsive and includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Safety features are comprehensive. Every Highlander comes standard with Toyota Safety Sense 2.5, which includes adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, automatic emergency braking, and road sign recognition. The Highlander has earned top safety ratings from both IHS and NHTSA. Pricing is reasonable for what you get. A base Highlander starts around $38,000. The Highlander Hybrid starts around $42,000, and a loaded Platinum tops out around $50,000. That's a lot of money, but you're getting a vehicle that will likely run for 200,000 miles with basic maintenance, and it'll hold its value better than almost anything else on the market. Number 3 best, Toyota 4Runner. The Toyota 4Runner is an anachronism, and that's exactly why it's one of the best SUVs you can buy right now. In a world of car-based crossovers and hybrid powertrains, the 4Runner remains defiantly old school, body-on-frame construction, a naturally aspirated V6, and genuine off-road capability. It's dinosaur technology, and it's glorious. The 4Runner has been essentially unchanged since 2010, which sounds like a criticism but is actually its greatest strength. This platform is proven, understood, and bulletproof. Mechanics know how to work on it, parts are readily available, there are no complex hybrid systems or turbos to fail. It's refreshingly simple in an increasingly complicated automotive landscape. The 4.0-liter V6 produces 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers aren't impressive by modern standards, but they're adequate for what the 4Runner does. The 5-speed automatic transmission is ancient, but it's reliable and well-suited to low-speed off-road work. Fuel economy is terrible at 17 mpg combined, but if you're buying a 4Runner, you've accepted this reality, and the capability is real. The 4Runner can go places that would leave crossovers stranded. Even the base SR5 model has respectable ground clearance and approach angles. Step up to the TRD Off-Road or TRD Pro, and you get locking rear differentials, crawl control, and suspension systems designed for serious trails. The 4Runner can handle rocky terrain, deep water crossings, and steep inclines that would terrify most SUV owners. Reliability is legendary. The 4Runner consistently ranks at the top of reliability surveys. Owners report minimal issues even after 200,000 miles. The simplicity of the design means fewer things to break, and when something does need repair, parts are inexpensive and widely available. Resale value is exceptional. 4Runners hold their value better than almost any vehicle on the market. A 3-year-old 4Runner with 50,000 miles might sell for 75% of its original price. Some TRD Pro models actually appreciate. This means your ownership costs over time are lower than they appear. Number 2 best, Toyota RAV4. The Toyota RAV4 is the best-selling non-pickup vehicle in America, and it holds that title for good reason. This compact crossover is the vehicle that defines the segment, and the current generation is the best RAV4 ever made. The RAV4 gets everything right. Size, efficiency, capability, technology, and value all come together in a package that makes sense for millions of buyers. It's not exciting or luxurious, but it's exceptionally good at being a practical family vehicle. Let's start with the powertrain lineup. The base engine is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder producing 203 horsepower. It's smooth, responsive enough for daily driving, and returns 28 mpg city and 35 mpg highway. That's impressive for a vehicle that weighs 3,500 pounds. But the real star is the RAV4 Hybrid. This drivetrain combines the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with electric motors for a combined 219 horsepower. The hybrid is quicker, smoother, and returns 41 mpg city and 38 mpg highway. Those numbers are exceptional for an SUV. The hybrid adds about $3,000 to the price, but you'll save that in fuel costs over a few years. Interior space is excellent for the class. The RAV4 comfortably seats 5 adults with good headroom and legroom in both rows. The rear seats slide forward and back, letting you prioritize either passenger space or cargo room. You get 37.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats and 69.8 cubic feet with them folded. Build quality is solid. The RAV4 feels substantial and well assembled. The materials aren't luxury grade, but they're appropriate for the price and seem durable. The controls are intuitive, the visibility is good, and the overall driving position is comfortable. Pricing is competitive. The RAV4 starts around $28,000, and you can get a well-equipped hybrid for around $35,000. A loaded limited or TRD off-road tops out around $40,000. The RAV4 holds its value exceptionally well, so ownership costs over time are lower than the sticker suggests. Number 1 best, Toyota Land Cruiser. Taking the top spot on our best list is the all-new Toyota Land Cruiser. The 2024 and 2025 Land Cruiser is genuinely one of the best SUVs money can buy, period. Toyota completely redesigned the Land Cruiser for 2024, bringing it back to the US market after a brief hiatus. The new model is smaller, more efficient, and significantly more affordable than the previous generation, while maintaining the legendary capability and build quality. The powertrain is a revelation. A 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder produces 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are impressive, but what's remarkable is how that power is delivered. The turbo spools quickly, providing strong acceleration from any speed. The 8-speed automatic transmission is smooth and decisive. Fuel economy is surprisingly good at 22 mpg combined. That might not sound impressive until you remember this is a body-on-frame SUV with genuine off-road capability. It matches or beats most car-based crossovers while offering far more capability. The off-road capability is extraordinary. The Land Cruiser comes standard with a 2-speed transfer case, locking center differential, and electronic traction control systems. Ground clearance is excellent. Approach and departure angles are competitive with dedicated off-road vehicles. This isn't a vehicle with off-road pretensions. It's the real deal. But what makes the Land Cruiser truly special is that it's equally comfortable on pavement. The ride quality is excellent, absorbing bumps without feeling floaty. The cabin is quiet, with minimal wind and road noise. The handling is composed and predictable. This is an SUV you can drive across the country in comfort, then immediately take off-road. What really sets the Land Cruiser apart is the intangible feeling of quality and durability. Every switch and control feels like it could last decades. The body panels fit together perfectly. The doors close with a satisfying thunk. This is a vehicle engineered to withstand abuse and keep running. Pricing is reasonable for what you're getting. The Land Cruiser starts around $58,000, which sounds expensive until you compare it to competitors. A Jeep Wrangler Rubicon costs similar money and isn't as refined. A Land Rover Defender costs $20,000 more and won't be as reliable. The Land Cruiser is the SUV for people who actually use their vehicles. It's for the family that takes road trips to national parks. It's for the overlander who wants to explore remote areas. It's for the person who needs a vehicle that can handle whatever life throws at it. It's the most well-rounded SUV Toyota makes and arguably the best SUV you can buy from any manufacturer right now.